Colebello here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you 5 build hacks to make your bedrooms more realistic in Bloxburg. I've got custom beds, nightstands, dressers, and more for you guys, so if you want to level up your bedrooms in Bloxburg, then keep on watching. For our first build hack, we have this custom bed with built-in shelves and nightstands, so it's very functional. So starting off, I'm going to resize a cube to the thinnest width and then 14.5 by 5.9, and then this is not going to be movable, so place this cube where you want the back of the bed to eventually be. Then I'm going to take another cube with the thinnest width and the same height, and then this one is going to be 1.9 wide. Now I'm going to place one of these at each end, and then I'm going to transform both of them inwards by 2 units. Now I'm just going to copy this and place it in the front here, and then I'm going to copy this again to make a section for the top. So this is just going to go down to the thinnest width and then 1.9 wide. Now with transform, this should fit right into place. And now I'm going to use cubes to make the 3 shelves that go right here. Again, just the thinnest height and then down to the width that fits this. Then you can just copy 2 of these on top and then transform them up to make it equidistant. Doesn't have to be perfect, but something like that should work. And then you can copy this to place on the other side. Now I'm just going to recolor this before I forget. This is the color I'm using if you want to copy it. Now I'm going to make the horizontal wood pattern that goes on the front. This is going to be a cube resized to the thinnest width, 14.25 wide, and 0.9 tall. Next I'm going to copy this on top of itself and transform it up 0.1 of a unit. Now you can just copy this until it reaches the top. And since it goes over the top a little bit, you can just take the entire thing and transform it down. And after recoloring, it should look like this. You can also transform it inwards a little bit so it's not sticking out so much. And I would also recommend making the piece behind it darker so that there's more contrast. And now you can add a standard double bed in the middle. And next you can resize a cube for the built-in nightstand, which is going to be 1.5 by 1.25 by 0.35 tall. And these should just sit right above the level of the bed. Now all that's left to do is the decorations, so I'm going to show you how I like to do my blankets on my beds. I like to just take the messy long blankets and put them across the entire bed, which is something you can do even to the in-game beds if you're not making this custom bed. So I'm just going to resize this to the longest length, and then I take this like kind of halfway through these top pillows here, and then I'm going to take another, and this one I'm going to flip around and then resize it down to reach the edge of the bed, which should look something like this. And then I take another one, but this one is going to be much thinner, and this one is going to be rotated and put on the edge so it's kind of hanging off the side. Now this isn't going to look perfect, but I think it just makes it look so much more realistic and kind of gives it that messy look. But that is pretty much it for the basic design of this bed, and this is what it looks like with all of the decorations added on top. As you can see, there's lots of room on the top to add decorations as well as in these shelves on the side, and I think that there's just a lot of room for creativity with this one. For our second build hack, we have this custom nightstand, which is pretty simple to make, but I think it's super cute, definitely giving farmhouse vibes. So to start off, I'd recommend placing this on top of a transparent cube so that you can copy it. Then I'm going to resize a cube to the smallest height and then 2.5 by 1.9. Next I'm going to transform this up by 2.6 and then create 4 posts on each corner with cubes. Next I'm going to copy this top piece and transform it up by 0.35. Next, I'm going to copy this again and bring it to the thinnest width, then resize it up to a height of 0.75. And this is going to be transformed right up to the top right here. Next, I'm going to copy this and bring it down to the smallest height, and this is going to go in line with these posts here to make the drawer. And now I'm going to use vertical planks to fill in the gaps on the sides and the back. Just take this and transform it across, and then you can use the resize tool to make it the correct height. And then I'm also going to make this the thinnest width, and I'm using these because they go thinner than the cubes, so if I were to use a cube here, it would kind of stick out on this side, and I don't want that. And finally, I'm going to make the drawer handle with thin square beams. This doesn't need to be resized, just do 3 pieces across. 1 should be longer and 2 should be short, and then use transform to move them into place. Now you can recolor and transform the transparent cube into the ground to move it into place. And this is what it looks like in a finished room with some decoration. Very cute and definitely a fun way to spice up your bedroom. For the third build hack, we have this custom woven dresser. Now I've actually already built this in another build hack video, but it's still one of my favorite build hacks that I've ever done. So I just had to include it in this one as well. It's a bit expensive, but I think it's definitely worth it. So like the last one, we're going to make this on a transparent cube so it's copy paste. And as you can guess, we're starting off with a cube. This one is going to be the smallest height and then 8.3 by 2. And then the back side of this is going to be 4.2 tall. And then you can just use more cubes to make these sides and the top. Now I'm going to transform this upwards by like 0.25 and then use some vertical cylinders with the thinnest width for the legs. And now we can add the texture to the front that makes it interesting, which as you may have guessed is done with a decal. So I just have a transparent cube right here and I'm going to add the 2-sided decal to it and resize this down to the smallest size. And then outside of build mode, add this code to the decal, credits to Equinox. Funny story about this decal, when I first made the TikTok video with this build hack, I mistyped the decal by 1 number and it literally turned it into an ogre. So many people were commenting like, what is this thing you've summoned into my Bloxburg world? And I'm like, guys, I mistyped it by 1 number. And it was a whole thing, but rest assured, this is the right code. I'm sorry if you had to experience that. But anyways, once you have this decal, you're going to want to copy it a bunch of times on this transparent cube. And I forgot that you're actually going to have to do this in 2 sections, because if you do the wide one, it's not going to let you bring it all the way to the edge, which is so annoying. So just make this half of the width. And then do 3 rows of these. And then you can put this inside of the front and copy it for the other side. And then transform these down so that it spans across most of the entire thing. And then now we're going to make the drawers. Resize a cube to the smallest height, smallest width, and 3.9 wide. Then move this up by 0.75. And then just use some cubes to fill in the sides. Next, you can add a thin square beam on top for the handle. And now all you have to do is copy this 6 times for each drawer. And now there's going to be some gaps in the middle where this is sticking through, so you can just go back and fill that in with more cubes. And now you can just recolor and transform down. And this is the finished product. Now, as you can see, I originally made this for my Japanese house, but this can probably work with a lot of different styles. And I just think it's super unique. I love the texture that this decal adds. And overall, I think it would make a really great statement piece for any bedroom. At number 4, we have another custom dresser, but this one is a bit more traditional and it's also wider, so it works really good for a master bedroom. As per usual, make sure to build this on a transparent cube so you can copy paste. And then as with the last ones, we're going to start off with a cube. This is going to be the shortest height and then 9.35 by 2.35. And like with this nightstand, I'm going to create some posts on the corners and then fill it in with cubes on the sides to create some dimension. And the height for these is going to be 2.7. Now I'm going to transform this entire thing up by about 0.25 and then use cubes to create legs on each corner. Now that that's done, we can create the drawers with small square beams. Now this may be a bit hard to explain because you don't get exact measurements with the structurals, but you essentially want there to be 1 long drawer in the middle and then 2 short on each side. So now that you can kind of see the length that I want these beams to be, I'm going to build the drawers themselves on individual cubes so that I only have to do one short and one long, and then I can just copy paste it to make the other drawers. So you want to make the height of this cube 0.7 exactly, and then resize the width of this to match this size. That way you can just copy this and do it like so that you end up getting the same length. And then you can place more beams, so do some right there, and then go vertically as well, and then transform this to kind of get a rectangular shape. And then I'm actually going to be smart and recolor this right now so I don't have to go back and do it later. And then I'm just going to make the color of this darker so that there's more dimension. And then now I'm going to resize a sphere to the smallest dimensions and add it in the middle for the handle. Now I'm going to go ahead and copy this and start moving it into place to make sure that the sizing is correct. I'd say that looks pretty good, so now I'm going to continue the same process with this set of longer drawers, and then I can just copy this for the other side. And it should look something like this. I may have messed up the measurements a little bit because there's kind of a lot of space in between these drawers, but obviously if you're adding it to your own build, you can just tweak it and make it look more realistic. But here's what it looks like fully decorated. I think it's really cute and definitely a lot more detailed than the in-game dressers. And for our final build hack, we have this custom window seating area. Now this kind of doubles as an exterior build hack, but I think it looks so cute in a bedroom as a little seating nook. Now I have a little room here as an example, but in order to make this, we're gonna actually have to make the entire wall by scratch. So whatever side you want to make it on, just go ahead and delete that wall. Now I'm going to start off by making the windows. So I'm going to take a cube and size it down. Now the measurements for this don't have to be specific because you can kind of do whatever size and dimension you want. But if you want to copy mine, I'm going to do about 4.5 wide and then a depth of 3. And then for the height, it's about 6 tall. And then I'm just going to fill this in on the sides with cubes. Now I'm going to use cubes to create another border just on the edge for the glass, and this needs to be 0.5 thick. Next, I'm going to place a transparent cube in the middle and resize it to fit the area. And now I'm going to use thin square beams to make the lines in the middle of the window. So all these should be about 0.4 wide. And then I'm going to do one thicker one in the middle that's 0.25, and then some more going up and down that are 0.1. So now that I have this window part done, I'm going to copy it because I want 2 of them. Then I'm going to move these around a bit so that they're centered where I want them to be. And then I'm going to move these up about 2.25. And now all that's left to do is use cubes to patch up the holes in the wall. And these should have a thickness of 0.5. If you did it right, it should look pretty seamless like this, and that's pretty much it. And this is what it looks like fully decorated. As you can see, I've added some pillows just to make it look really cozy. I also have some custom half curtains at the top. If you want to make these, you can just use thin square beams for the rod and then place a decal on the front. And if you want the specific decal, it's in my Roblox inventory. My user is Colebello with an X. And finally, for the exterior part, you can use cubes to replicate this roof on the top. I'm not going to go into detail, but if you want to learn more about that, you can check out the dormer tutorial on my page, which kind of goes into more detail about how to make the exterior part of a dormer, which is essentially what this is. But yeah guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you made it to the end, then thank you so much for watching. All of the builds that have been featured in this video have full speed builds that are on my channel, so make sure to watch them if you're interested. As always, make sure to follow my socials for behind the scenes content. I'm on TikTok and Instagram. And leave a comment down below if you have any questions or even just suggestions for future videos. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!